The paperclip has no inventor. Right now, there's probably one within arm's reach. You've bent dozens of them, lost hundreds to the carpet. That little loop of wire sits on your desk like it's always been there, because, in a way, it has. But behind that familiar shape is a disputed patent, a national myth built on a lie, and a design so effective that no one could meaningfully improve on it for over a century. The version you're holding today was never patented, not even close, and the inventor most people name? He's as mythical as the object itself. So who actually gets credit? And why did this tiny piece of bent wire become a symbol of resistance in occupied Europe, something people were arrested for wearing on their coats? The answer changes more than you'd expect. Here's the assumption most people carry. A Norwegian inventor named Johan Valler invented the paperclip in 1899. He filed a patent. The world adopted his design. Simple. That sounds reasonable. There is a Valler patent. Norway did celebrate it with a commemorative stamp in 1999, 100 years after the fact. His name, his legacy, his design. Except, that stamp doesn't show Valler's design. It shows the gem clip, the one already appearing in American office advertisements by at least 1892, 7 years before Valler filed a single document. His actual design was never manufactured, never sold. By most accounts, it was harder to use than what was already on people's desks. History hiding in plain sight. So, the real question isn't who patented it first, it's where the gem came from. And that story starts not in a Norwegian patent office, but in the slow death of a 600-year-old habit. Picture a clerk in 1870s London, gas lamp overhead, a pile of papers threatening to slide off a desk already crowded with ledgers. He reaches for a straight pin, stabs it through. Small rust stain, new hole. He doesn't notice. He doesn't have time. This is how the world fastened papers together for 6 centuries. Ribbons first, threaded through parallel slits cut into the upper corner of a page, sometimes waxed for grip. Then, as industry scaled, the pin. And by the 1870s, pins were impressively cheap. Professor Henry Petrosky, in his 1992 book, The Evolution of Useful Things, points out that Adam Smith used pin manufacturing as the opening illustration in The Wealth of Nations. 10 workers, dividing their labor, producing 48,000 pins per day. A half-pound box cost 40 cents by the end of the century. But the pins rusted. They pierced. They left marks that ink couldn't hide. What changed everything was a single development in 1855. Low-cost, flexible industrial steel wire. Suddenly, manufacturers could bend wire into complex, springy forms that held their shape without corroding. By 1883, a trade publication was already advertising something called gem paper fasteners, praising them as better than ordinary pins for binding together papers on the same subject. William Middlebrook of Waterbury, Connecticut, then did something interesting. He patented not the clip, but the machine to produce it. U.S. Patent 544,463, granted April 27, 1899. The drawings show the gem clip already finished, already familiar. Middlebrook didn't even bother naming it. It was beyond naming. It was just there. But that's only half the story. By 1900, a trade publication stated plainly, "The wire clip for holding office papers together has entirely superseded the use of the pin in all up-to-date offices." Consider how fast that was. In under 8 years from March 1, 1892, the date Cushman and Dennison first recorded the gem's use in trademark filings, it had displaced a technology 600 years old. Adam Smith's beloved pin industry, dethroned by a gram of bent wire. You might assume this happened because the gem was the best design available. Here is the trap. It wasn't. Samuel B. Fay received U.S. Patent 64088 on April 23, 1867, for a bent wire fastener for attaching tickets to fabric. Earlman J. Wright patented a paper fastening clip on July 24, 1877, patent number 193,389. There was the angular Fay clip, the intestinal-looking right clip, the Niagara clip, which looks, charmingly, like two clips holding hands. Over 50 designs existed before the gem ever dominated a shelf. The gem won for one reason, and it is a deeply unflattering one. Its shape required only 3 bends and a snip to produce. Automation was cheap. The sharp wire ends tucked inward, preventing paper tears. It gripped. It didn't tangle. Design historian Sarah Goldsmith, writing in Slate, put it plainly, the gem succeeded not by being perfect, but by being just good enough. The United States today produces roughly 20 billion paperclips annually. Anti-dumping tariffs against China were imposed in 1994 to protect that industry. 20 billion! That is what just good enough looks like at scale. This is where it gets strange. Oslo, 1940. German forces occupy Norway. King Haakon VII is in exile. Wearing a button bearing the king's initials or cipher is now a crime. So, Norwegians reached for something else. They clipped paperclips to their lapels. Not because of national pride in the invention, the Valar myth hadn't fully taken hold yet, but because the clip meant something older, simpler. We are bound together. An office supply, surely harmless. It wasn't harmless for long. The occupying authorities and local Nazi officials banned the paperclip from public display. Being caught wearing one could mean detention. That loop of wire had become a political act. And here's the detail that shifts the whole picture. According to the 1974 edition of the Norwegian encyclopedia Aschehoug's Konversasjonsleksikon, the lapel clip gesture may not have originated in Norway at all. In France, resistance members wore them to signal a visual pun, deux Gaules, 2 Poles, a quiet reference to General Charles de Gaulle, commander of the Free French Forces. A paperclip as a code word, worn on your chest, meaning, I know which side I'm on. I'll be honest, I didn't see that coming either. After the war, the paperclip fused with Norwegian national identity regardless. In 1989, a nearly 7-meter-tall paperclip sculpture was erected near Oslo to honor Valar. It depicts the gem clip, not Valar's actual design. The myth had grown so large it couldn't even get the shape right. In 2005, a Canadian named Kyle McDonald started with one object, a red paperclip listed on Craigslist. He asked to trade it for anything slightly larger or more interesting. 14 trades later, through a fish-shaped pen, a camp stove, a snowmobile, a recording contract, and a film roll, he walked away with a house in Kipling, Saskatchewan. One paperclip, one house. Meanwhile, philosopher Nick Bostrom used the paperclip to build one of the most discussed thought experiments in artificial intelligence. His Paperclip Maximizer imagines an AI assigned a single goal: produce as many paperclips as possible. It converts all available matter, eventually including humanity, into clips. The point was never comedy. It was a warning about misaligned goals pursued without limit. And right now, the most common place you encounter a paperclip is probably an email icon. No wire, no spring, just 2 loops, meaning something is attached. So, the next time you reach for one, bend it absent-mindedly, clip something together without a second thought. Consider what you're actually holding. A design that outlasted 60 competitors and a 600-year-old technology. A shape that resisted the Nazis. A loop of wire that a philosopher thought could end the world. It was never patented, never owned, never improved upon in any way that mattered. You picked it up without thinking. That's the whole point. The things that outlast everything else tend to share one quality. They're just exactly good enough. What everyday object should we investigate next? Drop it in the comments. The stranger the history, the better. And if this is your first object lore, stick around. The next one might just change how you see something you've never once questioned. This is Object Lore. The history of the world is hiding in plain sight.